All right, in this lesson we're going to look at how to calculate nominal GDP from sets of data using the expenditure approach. And remember, nominal is just the current dollar value. We're going to be able to calculate GNP, gross national income, from a set of data. And then we're also going to look at how to calculate real GDP using a price deflator. All right, so let's go back to here. If you'll recall, using the expenditure approach, what are the four things we need to look at? So expenditure approach measures consumer spending. It also measures uh, business investments, it measures government spending, and it measures net exports. And so if you're given this set of data over here, it's got a lot of stuff, a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for, not detractors, but things that might confuse you. How about that? And the word will come to me in just a little bit. But anyway, so we want to find these four things. All right, and so personal consumption expenditure would say that that one's definitely part of it. All right, compensation to employees, does that fall under the expenditure approach? If it's compensation, we're talking about wages. All right, rents, does that fall under any of these four? And the answer would be no. Gross private domestic investment would be that. All right, and so that would count there. And so we've got 9456. We've got 1,706. How about exports? That's definitely part of it. Remember, net exports is exports minus imports, and so we'll fill in 695 down here for our number there. We want to do minus imports. Let's just go ahead and knock that one out. So we've got minus the imports. We know that's part of it, so that's 983. All right, so 983 minus 695, that would be, that makes that a 7, and that would be an 8, and that goes down to an 8, 17, that would be an 8, and that would be a 2, so we've got net exports is negative 288, all right? Then we've got government purchases. Government purchases is right there. So it'd be 2385. And so these are the only numbers we need. Okay, we need to define the consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, and then finally net exports. And so let me see if I can pull up the calculator here. Probably should have done this before. Let's go up here. Sorry about that. Calculator is there. So we've got, slide that over, clear that out, 9456 plus 1706 plus 2385 minus 288. And so our total GDP for this economy would be 13,259, and we can say billions or trillion or whatever. But this is how you would calculate it. And so that's all we do for this one. All right. We just, for the expenditure approach, and on a test, you just need to be able to say, pull out the numbers for expenditure approach. So you pull that one, and you would pull that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. You'll have 5, because net exports, you're going to have two for that. All right. In the next example, we want to say calculate GNP from the data. And so if you remember, GNP is the income. And so personal consumption, no, because that was for the expenditure approach. Compensation of employees, definitely. And so we would say that's wages. All right, so that's 8943. Rent, that's part of the income approach. Remember, income is work. So rent is 57. Interest is 790. Proprietor's income, that would be the business owner's income. That'd be 1295. That would count. So that one. This is expenditure. That one is. This is expenditure. Corporate profits, we would also count that. So it's income earned. So that's 2184. All right, and so that should be it. Okay, imports aren't part of that, and so we cross that out, that out, that out, that out, and that out, and the remaining things is how you would calculate GNP. So let's see what we got. Okay, so we've got 8943 plus 57 plus 790 plus 1295 plus 2184, and we get 13,269. All right, and so that's how you calculate GNP from using the income approach. All right, so that's that. And let's go to this last one. Now we want to calculate real GDP using a price deflator. And all a price deflator is this is a price index. And if you'll recall, we did consumer price index, and all it is a measure of inflation. And so a GDP price deflator measures price changes in all of GDP. So it's consumer spending, business investments, government spending, and net exports. It looks at the inflation rate in all four of those, whereas the CPI just measured what? It measured consumer spending, so 70% of the economy. So this deflator measures changes in price of all goods in the economy. All right, and so how we want to do this, we're going to take the nominal, so this is nominal. And the formula here to calculate real GDP is to take equals the nominal GDP times the deflator. All right, and to get the deflator, when we do this, we're actually going to take 100 over the deflator value. And so in the first example, that would be over 123. All right, and this is the only math that you have, well, you have to do the math for the whole thing, but this is the only little trick that you have to remember, is to take the deflator and use it and divide it into 100, and that'll give you the number that you multiply nominal GDP by. All right, and so remember, if the deflator's going up, that means we have inflation. If it goes up, and it's going to go up the percentage that inflation went up, and so this isn't 5%. This is the percent change from 123 to 128, which I don't know off the top of my head, but so this is measuring the percent change between the two. So for this one, we would say 1,000 times 100 divided by 123, and that, what does that equal? All right, and this is how you would calculate real GDP, and so this would equal $813.01. All right, and so this is saying if this is year, let's say this is year 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, which year do you think we're comparing this to? Do you think it's 2000 or 2004, or when do you think the year of comparison is? So hopefully you can look at it and say, look, we're having to lower this number. And so if we're lowering this number, the year that we're comparing it to, it's called the base year, is going to be before the year 2000. And just a little trick, the base year value of the deflator or the index is always going to be 100. So anyway, to calculate 1250, you take 1250 times 100 divided by 128, and that ends up giving you 976.56. Now, what I want you to look at real quick is it looks like we've had economic growth in all of these. Okay, and it looks like from 2002 to 2003, we had a big jump, okay, a big percentage increase. And so just looking at nominal GDP, you're going to look at it and say, wow, that looks pretty good. But when you start to get over here to the price, to the deflator, GDP price deflator, we're going to see that it's not necessarily so good. So this one would be 1,600 times 100 divided by 129, and that's going to equal 1,240. And so these are the real numbers, remember. And so we can say we've had economic growth there, we've had economic growth there, that's 0.31. And so what about this year? We went from 1,600 to 2,000. So if we do 2,000 times 100 divided by 170, we end up with $1,176.47. And so nominally, we have increased a bunch. We've gone from 1,600 to 2,000, but you can see over here that the value of real GDP has actually gone down, and so you can say now, wow, we've actually lost growth. The economy shrank, even though nominally it went up. And so the only thing that could cause this, if nominal goes up and real goes down, is we had a big inflation rate. All right, and that's what would explain that. So growth here, not growth here. All right, and then the last one, we'll say 2,100 times 100 divided by 177, and that's going to equal 1186.44. And so this is how you take the real value, this is how you calculate the real GDP by using nominal and the deflator. All right, so that's it, though. Nice short one today. Until next time.